you have to go back 15 years before we can see another inventory accumulation like this. Welcome back, guys. So we've been seeing a lot of articles like this. Northport ranked #1 in fastest growing small cities in the country. And the question I keep asking is, if that's the case, why are so many people leaving? Northport currently has 10-year highs for not only active listings for homes for sale, but also rental listings. There are huge vacancies, and the month's supply of inventory has absolutely skyrocketed, much like the rest of Southwest Florida. But Northport, I think it's really going to surprise you when you see how far back you have to go to have this amount of houses listed on the market. Jumping right in here, guys, I'm going to source a lot of the stuff today, obviously from the National Association of Realtors and Florida Realtors. We're going to start with RPR. This is the National Association report. You guys may have seen some of these on my community posts. Basically shows for February 2024, Northport's just about in a buyer's market. It was more heavily skewed in January for that, but they're sitting at 6.71 months of inventory, which is just buyer's market territory, according to the NAR statistics. Now, you guys have to understand, they do these numbers a little differently than the MLS does. As I've mentioned before, the NAR numbers will take the total amount of active listings and divide it by the average amount of homes sold per month, not necessarily the homes that were sold per that month. So the MLS months of inventory will generally be a lot higher, but you can see the rise either way. They're down to 95.8% of asking price in Northport. That's going down almost 2% month over month. That's a pretty big drop. And what that means is people are getting 5% off of the final asking price of a house. I'll give you guys an example. Around the area, just had a great deal for a customer. Got a $330,000 house that was originally listed at $427,000. So whatever we offered at the final listing price, the $330,000, that's how they factor that in. They don't factor in that almost $100,000 drop before the house went under contract. So that's where your 95% is coming from, the final asking price before they get a contract. It's taking about 57 days to get a contract on a home, up 16% month over month from January. Median sold price sitting at $335,000 for Northport. That is down 5.33% from the previous month. So hopping into Sunstats here, you can see that the average sales price for February of 2024 was $425,000. It's actually up 1.7% from last February. But if we take a look at the peak Northport hit for average sales price was $454,000 back in 2022. So we have not gone back over that. Prices are still down from the peak in Northport. Taking a look at their median estimated value, this is an estimate from all public records in MLS. This is just for single family. You can see Sarasota is in the orange. The yellow here is Florida as a whole. The blue is Northport, and the red is the USA entirely. So most of Florida above all this for median value. But you can see values have kind of stagnated here over the past year and a half. They're flatlining pretty much throughout the country. A little bit of a rise here for the state of Florida, but mostly stable, except Northport is actually on a downward trajectory. So looking quite different here. And we can see that in the median sold price as well. If you take a look at the peak here, the peak median sold price was June of 2022 for Northport, according to this, at $399,000. It is now sitting at $335,000. That's a $65,000 drop, guys. Median price per square foot down from $249, sitting at $219 right now. So even the median square footage price is coming down. I know a lot of people like to point that out, that you have to take a look at that median square footage as well, and it's at $219 a square foot. And you can see how the average list to sale price ratio, this is the market changing here, guys. Normally it was around 96%. That's kind of historical. That's what it was the previous 5 years I've been working here too. And then it just goes crazy. And all of a sudden everybody's getting 100% of ask around April of 21. By July of 21, it's 102% of ask, still staying over 100% all the way until June of 2022, which we all keep marking as the peak. And that was when the interest rates really started kicking in. And you can immediately see no one's getting 100% of ask anymore, and has not really since, unless your property is aggressively priced. But since most people in Northport are not pricing their properties aggressively, we went on a skyward trajectory for months supply of inventory here, now sitting at 6.71. But even in February of 19, it was only 4. We are well over that, and I will show you the past 10 years as well. So these are the total number of listings for Northport going as far back as 2008. As you can see, in 2008, we had 1,843, February of 2008. We're nowhere near that right now at 1,016, according to the Sunstats. But you would have to go back almost, all the way to We have not had this much inventory in Northport since 2009. April of 2009, we had 1,049 homes listed in Northport, and now we have 1,016. So you have to go back 15 years before we can see another inventory accumulation like this. And diving into the month supply of inventory, kind of the same thing, guys. We haven't had 6 months supply of inventory in Northport since January 2011. So well over 13 years since we've had this much month supply of inventory. Now again, nowhere near 2008. That's 11.6. We'd have to double our months of inventory to get back to that, guys. So keep that in mind. But again, this does not include new construction that's not on the MLS. This doesn't include new builds that builders are doing that they're not putting in our systems at Welland Park. Most of the RPR in this data will pull some of that public stuff, but it's not necessarily in here. When people try to make the case that this is 2008 all over again, I mean, we've got a long way to go to get there. When I look at something like this, is this the beginning of that? I don't know. What I've been struggling with lately as we go through season, to see such massive increases and all this data and some of the deals I'm putting together and the concessions and off asking price I'm getting, I'm wondering, like, is this the crash? I don't know, but people want price movement, and we're not really seeing the price movement like people desire right now. So I don't know. I mean, this all I can do is bring you the data, show you what's out here right now. The year-over-year change on month supply of inventory, I mean, we were only at 3.5 last March. And last March, it was up 300%. April, it was up 200%, 200%, 100. Like, these are massive numbers. It's crazy. Now, if we look at the pending inventory, it does not go back that far, but you can see from the peak, we have declined considerably. Now, that's a huge drop in pending sales, guys, but if you look at the trend, it's historically normal. It's the 2010s, this is kind of what we sold. Now, does that equate to home prices going back to the 2010 prices? I honestly don't think so. I do think Northport has a lot of room to move down. If this continues on this trend, we're going to see more price drops because there's just too many houses. So we'll see again how season pans out, but it's not it is a drastic drop from the mania, but the mania was such a drastic increase that yes, the drop is going to look very severe, but it's kind of baseline across the prior 10 years. And the same thing with closed sales. So right here, this is Hurricane Ian area. This is kind of an anomaly. But closed sales are not too off from, like say the closed sales in December of 2013 were 154. The closed sales in December 2023 was 132. So this is seasonal stuff you're going to see here, obviously bouncing, but kind of baseline across as well. So I'm going to dive into all of February's numbers for Northport here, but this is the average sales price over the previous 16 years, again, going back from 2008. February 2008, the average sales price in Northport was $155,000, and we peaked in June of 2022 at $454,000, as I mentioned there. And it's kind of been bouncing all over the place, but this is going to fluctuate a lot more depending on what properties sell. They almost beat it again in January 2024 at $448,000, but again, we're sitting at $425,000. The median square footage and median sales price looking a lot more stable than this here. So let's jump right into the February numbers. Again, single family year over year, guys, on the whole, closed sales up 15% from the previous February. Cash sales up 30%. People still got a lot of money sloshing around, guys. And I'll tell you what I'm seeing on the ground is people are in purchase mode. They know they can get some good bargains. Or they know they can get some what are at least considered good bargains as compared to what has been happening over the past 3 years. They have money they're looking to deploy, and they know they're not buying at the top right now. That was a big hurdle for a lot of people, which is why we're still having a semi-strong buying season right now, is most people they just don't want to buy at the top. And now that the top has been breached and we're back down, people feel a little more comfortable with that. Where it goes from there, I don't know. That's everyone's personal decision. Median sales price, as we mentioned, up 2.7%, sitting at $369, average at $425. The dollar volume is up 17%, and they have median percent of original list price at 96%, pretty close to what RPR, the National Association, has. Median time to contract, 55 days. Median time to sale, 92 days, guys. So even if you list a house, it's going to take 92 days before that bad boy's closed, generally. New pending sales stable year over year. New listings up 43%. That's new listings coming to the market in February. Pending sales down 37% year over year. I can't get this mouse to do what I want. There we go. Active inventory up 90% from the previous year. You guys saw that skyrocketing slope over the past 5 years at least. And month supply of inventory up 76.5%. All right, guys, so I'm going to pop through Sarasota County here as well for you. Single family homes year over year. Closed sales up 11%, sitting at 577 for single family homes. The cash sales are up 20.6%. A lot of cash floating around. Median sales price only up 2.5%, sitting at 507,000. But average sale price up 8.7% from the previous February, coming in at 715,000. Does that beat the all-time high for Sarasota County? Ooh, that's close. They beat it in 2023. So the 2023 peak in Sarasota County was $738,000. That is the highest average sales price for single-family homes that they achieved there so far. So we're not quite there, but we're at the basically tied with the 2022 peak. And let's just jump right down to the months of inventory, sitting at an additional 79% months of inventory. They went from 2.9% or 2.9 months of supply to 5.2 months of supply this February. A huge jump, 86.1% increase in listings for single family homes in Sarasota County, going from 1,793 to 3,337. Guys, that's huge. Now, I did want to pull up the average sales price for Sarasota County because they smashed a new all-time high here in January at $792,000 average sales price. Look at that spike fly up and come straight back down. So not sure what that anomaly was. Very interesting to see that happen though. And it looks like though we're seeing an extreme rise in active inventory, it's only because it was so low in Sarasota County. Only 528 homes on the market back in January 2022, 492 in February of 2022, now sitting at 3,337. That is such a massive increase. It's almost unbelievable. But if you look at it, it's kind of the trajectory of the 2010s. We're going back to a baseline market here, nowhere near the 7,580 that they had in February of 2008. So that's where I struggle to say, guys, you know, is this whole thing coming apart? Is this just the beginning? I mean, prices are going to go down if it keeps going in this direction, or at least stay flat. But when you look back, it's kind of standard inventory right now for the past 10 years. It's not, and it's really going to depend on where the trajectory goes, guys. That's why I keep saying we got to wait and see where the rest of the season, almost the rest of the year goes at this point, because it was just so incredibly low that yes, this is a massive, insane spike, but it's still putting Sarasota County back to baseline. So that's what I got for Northport and Sarasota today, guys. If you like this video, give me a like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.